Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all you little maniacs across the world, once again it's time. Robcast coming at you live, uncut, and unbraided from Spreaker Podcast, Robcast Radio, baby. So rock and roll, here we go. Many other platforms as well. Woo! Here's zombie little maniacs, and here we go. All right. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen. Moment away. I tell you what. Woo. Moment away. All right. Okay, we're just fucking around a little bit, but now starting off your show because you know that it is your show, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! You know we like to start off your show by saying thank you to the military, to the Army, to the Navy, to the Air Force, and to the Marines for doing what you bad motherfuckers do to keep our country free. And an especially great thanks this time to all of our first responders, firefighters, EMTs, back to badge, the boys in blue, last but not least, support your local police. All right, so rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, little maniacs. I basically have a show, written out. How'd you like that? How'd you like the old intro music? I don't think if you only have 8 listeners, then you don't really get kicked off of anything because you know what I'm saying? It's like a cult following. Yeah, the handful of people that actually listen to this, we know that we can get away with a little bit. However, we try. Well, actually, we guarantee that we're going to equally offend everyone listening, right? So, right, across the board, we are equal. I didn't realize it was the fucking zombie apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can get this. I've got a little bit of white noise in the background there, Flip. Okay, so, yeah, I didn't realize it was the zombie apocalypse. I had some other things that I thought that might be nice to talk about. Maybe an audio nugget. I had on my list here. I don't know. I did want to talk a little bit about Alanis. Alanis Morissette. But really, everything kind of got skyjacked, side-handled because, damn, we've got, the whole country's basically shut down and moved around. I've got my birthday coming up, the end of March, and guess what? Nothing. I was thinking, and when you think, sometimes you get in trouble, but I was thinking that I was going to be able to go to, just the name doesn't even sound, it sounds fucked up. I was going to go to Skankfest South at the secret group, and that's not happening. They probably have to fog the secret group out for the next 90 days with some super high volume antibacterial. So yeah, that's been kind of a trip. All of the programs, as far as anything to do with the crowd, has been it's gone. It's done. And I don't know. I didn't really want to get on the old interwebs reconnect with all you little maniacs and say thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. We'll give some shout outs to some old ride or die buddies, some old, some true friends to the end. But primarily, you're not supposed to sip coffee on the air or slide the desk around with your mic on it. Hey, we do what we got to do to get by. We bring you what we've got when we got it, and we're never really ready for prime time. So that's exactly what we are, the goal that we have already reached it here today. We could vent about our day. We could even tell you a little joke. I wanted to talk a little bit about Big Brother, and see if you all thought that the next Big Brother, the next CBS Big Brother, if it was going to possibly be an all-star edition or possibly be returning Big Brother guests that had been in there before. We'll kind of leave that one on the. We'll do that as a lead into the Big Brother season because hey, all of that could have been canceled. You're gonna have 16 friends living in the same house together, and all of the production crew and everything like that in close proximity. It's just a matter of. I think that normally goes on around May, so we may be in good shape for our summer programming. And look how big of assholes we are right now, right? We're worried about our summer programming. It's the fucking zombie apocalypse out there. Summer programming. But look, if they need to turn on the TV right now, it's fucking like OJ rebooted. Here we go.
Houston Chronicle. Would a Harris County shelter-in-place order affect cargo operations at Port of Houston? Would trucking to and from the port be impacted in any way? What about transit?
So if we make a determination to issue a stay-at-home...
Yeah, I mean, look. Oh, my God. There are a few things about this ongoing situation. I'm sorry. Just drug the table and flip. Producer is going to slap me upside my head. Come out of the box. Hit me upside my head. I'm sorry, Flip. I will not do that. Well, fuck. We don't have shit all situated in here. I'm moving my brother's garage around so we might. So we could have a little backup studio in there. That would be nice. Hey, everything is rocking and rolling in our world. We're blessed. Still working in the oil field. Imagine that. And I look, the thing on my phone goes off about oil today, and I'm like, dude, I don't even want to fucking hear it. The oil's at like $20-something a barrel. And I'm thinking, fuck, man. You wouldn't believe, how well we were doing only a month ago, okay? As far as, in the oil business. And that wasn't I don't know. If it was up to me, I would just talk shit to you all and build motorcycles, classic cars, classic bikes. And that's about it. Any other crazy inventions we may come up with. But yeah, so the oil patch, the oil field has been definitely been exciting lately, interesting. Again, it's Monday, and I didn't even fucking wake up to go to work today because I know I don't have any hours to do, and it looks like it's probably shitty weather. So, not that matters either. I'll be out there doing whatever I need to do to take care of business. It just so happens I do have the opportunity to get on the old interwebs. Thank all of my hardcore fans. Let y'all know that I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? For you all. For you little maniacs. And there are a few things going on with what's going on around us that we need to be well aware of. There are some different... Fuck, I hate to do this. So maybe we'll take. we've got to be aware of what's going on around us right now. I'll give you my opinion as to what I think, to what my spider senses are picking up on and what I think's going on around us. You let me know what you think. I mean, right now at this point in time, I don't think it's a super big deal. If you have underlying conditions, if it's something that if you have, you know what I mean? Yes, it is a super big deal for certain people. I'm totally 100% blessed right now that, I'm not 10 years older. I'm not a couple years older, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And I think it's a reminder to get healthier and to stay healthier. I think this should be a big reminder on how dependent we are onto what is just at our mercy at the grocery store or at the drive-thru. Because I had kind of an awakening a couple years ago, and I quit sugar. I started to exercise, and man, I felt like a whole different person. Not that like certain things stuck. This is what happened. Our house got flooded. You know what I mean? I was displaced for 6 months, and all of that shit kind of goes by the wayside when you're rebuilding your house and trying to get your parents back into it and all that. So the couple years ago that I did that, I figured like that was the test run. And when something like this happens, it makes me think that, I definitely need to be in better shape. I need to not eat the fucking Reese's, the 6-pack of Reese's Hearts or Reese's Trees or Reese's Eggs right now a day or one setting for that point. Woo! Got some nice boobies on the TV. News lady replaced. Fuck, that's the only thing though. She replaced Jennifer Reyna. And I think that's the only reason they gave her the jobs, because she's got some tits. Because her face ain't nothing to look at. So what? I mean, she's still doable. Come on. Look, come on. We're just fucking around here. I'm just fucking around. I would like to go motorboat them titties though. But more than that, back to the question at hand. Let's see if we can find. Oh goodness, I hate it when I do that. Sometimes I'll hit mute or pause to cough, and then I'll sit there and talk to you guys for 5 minutes while the microphone's off, and that is a pain in the ass. I will remind you that we do not edit anything. And it's only because we like the natural, like the shitty opening to our show today. I want to thank you. That's some new audio that we've got going on. And I said, fuck it. Instead of going through it 10 times, let's just do it. Let's record it and they'll get over it. You're going to fucking hit fast forward 30 seconds until you get past that. You're going to listen to one commercial. You'll hit fast forward 30 seconds. You'll be past all that bullshit. Nobody cares, right? But the point is what I thought would be wise for us today. I will still go over, look, I wanted to talk, like I said, a little bit about Big Brother. We've got to remind ourselves to think truth. We've got to remind ourselves to think in a certain way, because just to follow the thinking of every single person around us and the hive mentality is not helpful all the time, okay? You can listen to what's going on around you, but certain things that don't make sense, Come on. Let's not be cattle about this. Let's not be. It's a lot. What I'm saying to you, motherfuckers, is this: it's way, way, way harder. It requires a lot more energy and more muscle to think truth and to follow a series of thoughts, to think it out all the way, and to form your own motherfucking opinion about what's going on. And about when I say about what's going on, I'm not just talking about what's going on around us right now. I'm talking about everyday life. And if you start to, and I've fallen by the wayside of doing that my damn self. Sometimes it is easier just to go along with the status quo with your fucking boss and my brother and whoever else. But every once in a while, I have to get back to my roots, and I have to say, look, I have free motherfucking will. You know what I mean? And I'm going to do what's best for this motherfucker, because if I don't eat, none of the people around me eat, because I always share what I have. And I do believe that what is mine is yours. And I also believe that we're actually all the same motherfucking thing. We're all part of one big living party. You know what I'm saying? That's the universe. All right. Okay, so not only that, to think truth and to think in a certain way and we can do a whole nother show on thinking in a certain way. And if you've never read The Science of Wallace Wattles, then I would encourage you to check out Wallace D. Wattles. Wallace D. Wattles. Yeah, fuck the opioid crisis. We could do a whole show on that as well. Hey, yeah, I've got a vent. I just want to say that I hope that Mr. Double D, Mr. Donovan Dillinger, I hope you're doing all right, buddy. I love you, your family, everybody. I hope y'all are rocking and rolling. And you know that we're going to have you on the show as soon as we can, which is fucking tomorrow, dude. Shoot me a text. Let me know what's up and send me a message. And we'll rock some shit out, because we definitely got stories to tell. Chris Ryder, another one. Midnight Rider, dude. He called me the other day and I didn't answer because that dirty motherfucker would have gotten corona over the goddamn phone. I'm kidding. I love him. That's what I just said. I hope they doing all right. We all know that Chris is in rock and roll. And goddamn, that sucks. Probably everything to do with rock and roll shows are shut down. I know he was chilling with the road manager for Foreigner and talked to me and told me that he had sold one of his guitars to the road manager, Foreigner. So that's how he rolls, fellas. We'll get back with Chris Ryder, Midnight Rider. We'll get with Donovan D, hopefully in the near future. And a couple of the other old zombie friends. Little maniacs. So yeah, Skankfest South, I'm sure that shit's shut down all the way, but what you can still do. Okay, so what I thought we'd do today is that we're gonna see what couple of different celebrities. Maybe I was listening recently to I don't know if you all know who David Icke is. We'll see what he has to say about this corona crap. We'll see what Adam Carolla has to say. It was just kind of a funny thing that he was on Pauly Shore's Random Rants on YouTube. And if you want to see Pauly Shore doing lines of cocaine and basically handing young comics their future, then check out Pauly Shore's Random Rants on YouTube. But you could definitely check out this Robcast and the Adam Carolla Show and many, many more on Spreaker Podcast, the best podcasting network on planet Earth. Spreaker Podcast. So rock and roll. How are all of you little maniacs coping with this? Because I know that it can make you a little bit nervous. I was having some weird dreams last night, my damn self. You know, I mean, I don't know why, but you ever wake up, you can remember the dream, you know what's happening. I don't know. Is that because we actually visit other places in our sleep? I wonder if our spirit actually goes to another dimension. And because that's so real whenever we get back into our body here, that, I mean, I figured it out time-wise, because it looks like, look, I sleep 7 hours or 8 hours, right? But whenever you sleep, whenever you travel to another world in your sleep, which that sounds crazy, right? Yeah, maybe it is crazy. I'm nuts. But let's just say, if the porthole that is to the whatever dimension is when you fall asleep, if that opens it up and you automatically cross through and you sleep for 18 hours, you sleep for 8 hours, And I think the way that it works is that whenever you're in the other dimension, that time doubles, right? So every 30 minutes that you sleep is actually an hour. So that would make it to where you're asleep there while you're existing in this other dimension. That makes that actually 16 hours, okay, because it's doubled. And then when you're done with your 16 hours in the other dimension, which is the 8 hours of sleep here, you wake up here. That's when you go to sleep there. That's why you never really know when you're going to wake up unless your alarm clock starts going off, and then you have to jump from the other to here. And I think that might be what narcolepsy is when people just fucking, they pass out. It's because they have to jump. They have to be somewhere else, and they can't be in both, and you have to be asleep. So, and not, I mean, so then you wake up here. Oh, man, everything's cool. You're rock and rolling. You have a little weird dream about last night, and it's the same cycle over and over for the 24 hours of the day, or however that works, for however many hours that you sleep in each dimension. Anyway, that's just one of my crazy philosophies. So we'll see if we can bring you all some audio nuggets. Follow Robcast Radio on YouTube. We got a YouTube show there. Also, man, it's real fucking hard to find, but Rob, R-O-B, space, C Zombie, capital C Zombie, Rob C Zombie. When I used to do Rob C Zombie stuff, there's some old stuff on there that you can check out as well. But check out Robcast Radio on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, every place else. I'm probably going to start rebuilding. Speaking of oil being at $23 per gallon, we probably will start rebuilding maybe some old tractors, hot rods, motorcycles, whatever we can get our hands on. Do some work, get some work out of it, make a couple of dollar bills. Oh. Okay, let's see what a couple of different celebrities, what their view is on all this shit. Are we all freaking out? Are all the kids partying on spring break, man? Gonna fucking end up fucking, or China starts turning into zombies and shit here tomorrow. That's whenever the shit hits the fan. You hear me? I'm saying people that have had that, man, I'm speculating. I think we'll talk. Well, I'll tell you what I think. Let's see what everyone else thinks. I think we just need to be aware on what's going on around us. Be selective. Anyone that you know that may have any kind of problems as far as medically goes, then they're just in a fucked up situation right now. That's all there is to it. And my heart goes out to them. Prayers go out to them, and if that fucking means anything. Let's see what let's see if I can find Adam Carolla talking on about this. I thought, okay, so rock and roll. We'll see what, we'll listen to David Icke. We'll see what his view is. We'll listen to a little Adam Carolla. I hope maybe we can find the Adam Carolla on Pauly Shore's Random Rants. But don't forget, follow us right here at Spreaker Podcast, the best podcasting network on planet Earth. If you'd like to start your own podcast and get the Spreaker Studio, they will rock you out, baby. In the very first day, you can go ahead and start your own Robcast. Let people know what you think about all this bullshit. So rock and roll, here we go. We've got David Icke. Check him out, David Icke. This is coronavirus panic. The survival mechanism doesn't think. David Icke. A little excerpt from his last YouTube. You can check out that YouTube that I just mentioned, and that's David Icke.
This survival mechanism kicking in, just humans. So psychologist explains the sense of emergency has triggered our basic animal instinct, led to stockpiling and price hikes. Let's give this story. Panic surrounding the spread of coronavirus has turned it into a selfish society, as psychologists has explained. Dr. Martina Paglia, director of the International Psychology Clinic in London, told how a sense of emergency, need to survive, concern over safety, triggers the part of the brain associated with fight or flight and allows basic animal instinct to take over. Well, I've not actually read this story until I'm reading it now. I've seen the headlines, why I included it. But what psychologist describing is what I've just described. Mechanism. She notes the issues that have already been caused by stockpiling and reports of price hikes, and warned the situation could worsen if people did not change their behavior. She explained, during times of uncertainty, the part of the brain that copes with anxiety disrupts another area of the brain that controls behavior. This usually results in causing fear and group thinking behavior and triggers our fight or flight response, which is our basic animal instinct. The brain is hardwired to react in this defensive manner in order to preserve the individual's life. This is essential at times when a person is in immediate danger. However, it is currently leading to negative and damaging social behavior such as xenophobia, stress, hoarding and panic buying, which has the potential of having a huge impact on society, Dr. Paglia said. Now, this survival mechanism, the good thing when it kicks in times of extreme danger so that you avoid it. Because, for instance, the reptilian brain does not think, it reacts. The parts of the...
Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have to agree with these people. But we can listen to what this gentleman says over here. We can listen to what this lady says over there. We can listen to what they're feeding us into their MK Ultra mind controlled television that they've got us all watching 24 hours a day right now. And then we can hopefully use our brain and use some labor, some effort, and some time and think about it and think the truth and to form our own opinion about what the fuck is going on and maybe figure it out. And I think another thing might be to go motherfucking, let's try to go vote. Everyone, it doesn't make a difference. What the fuck, man? We got to do something, or we got to change the way that it works. We got to make something that does fucking work.
And think. Children's brain reacts instantly. Road rage, when people lose it over somebody cutting them up or whatever, the reactive process. And it's part of these processes you see in so many people where they react through that reptilian unthinking brain. And then when the other parts of the brain kick in, they go, oh my God, what was I doing? What was I saying? And they say, what was I thinking? Well, the point is you weren't. Well, you did what you did. What we have in this situation now, this panic buying and all the rest of it, is that mechanism kicking in, and people walking out of supermarkets with piles and piles of stuff. My local supermarket. I get stuff every Monday. I try to do it so I never forget. Monday for the local food bank here. And you buy stuff for the food bank, and the supermarket, I think it adds 30% on it. And so what you're looking at, well, what I'm looking at, I did ask them what was good, was stuff that lasted. So I have to get big packs of pasta. I don't eat pasta. And tins of beans. Things that, fill people's bellies who are hungry. The greatest food in the world, but, you're in that situation. I went this Monday. Gone. There was a restriction on buying pasta, but didn't need to be a restriction because there weren't any. And we're restricted to 5 tins of beans. I usually get 12 on a Monday. So there are many knock-on effects for many, many different people. Panic buying. Because if some have, others won't have. But I've got to survive. Well, maybe if you didn't panic buy, you'd still bloody survive. Always happens. Oh, psychology says urge people to have greater awareness of their own behavior in order to keep it under control. Reduce the urge to fight or flight, being knowledgeable and mindful of the anxious response we may be experiencing. Be aware of it. Hold on. My survival mechanism kicking in. It doesn't think. Think. Well, I don't need to do this. So we can reduce the urge to fight or flight by being knowledgeable and mindful of the anxious response we may be experiencing. Try to avoid panicking by understanding and accepting the anxiety, making sure that the information you're receiving is actual fact rather than just opinion, and take control of your response. Well, that's good advice across the whole spectrum of human life. Take control of our response. Because panic buying, having fear triggered from external sources, dictating your response, not for controlling their own. I mean, shouldn't laugh. I don't laugh because it's funny. I kind of shake my head because it's just an extreme example of what I'm talking about. How about this for a headline? Indian farmer destroys nearly $800,000 worth of chickens and eggs over coronavirus fake news on social media. Coronavirus outbreak has not killed anyone in India so far, but it has been absolutely lethal to the poultry industry, with a false rumor leading one farmer to destroy his native or his entire livelihood. Guy Dr. Suresh.
All right, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think we get the idea. You know what I'm saying there with what he's saying. Now we've got the map on the television that's showing the whole United States and how many cases and how many have recovered and how many people have the zombie infection. And let's listen to our local news about this fucking horse shit for just a moment right here in the Age.
Some of the world's most iconic cities, desolate, and a devastating global milestone, international cases surpassing 300,000. Now the Olympics, symbol of unity and human achievement, under threat. A decision to come within a month, but Canada and Australia already pulling out. Italy suffering its deadliest day, its death toll now 5,500. The worst crisis since World War II, says its Prime Minister. In Spain, more than 2,000 have died. Its leader warning the worst is yet to come. Germany's Chancellor, Angela Merkel, is in quarantine after her doctor tested positive. But this morning, hope from Britain's Oxford University telling NBC News they may have a vaccine within 6 months. The target is to be able to say that you've got a working vaccine as early as July.
That's the ambition, absolutely. Not guaranteed, but I think we have a fair chance of doing that because we're using a vaccine type that has been in thousands of people before.
Other vaccines are in development in the US, Germany and China.
We are aiming to make not millions, probably not tens of millions, but ideally hundreds of millions of doses of this vaccine.
Just back to the Olympics again, what athletes are worried about is that even if the spectators didn't go to the games, it would be hard for them to compete amid this coronavirus crisis. President Trump tweeting now will be guided by the wishes of Prime Minister Abe of Japan, a great friend of the United States, and a man who has done a magnificent job on the Olympic venue as to attending the Olympic Games in Japan. He will make the proper decision. Even if the games are delayed, and that looks increasingly likely, wouldn't it be something for the games
I can't take much more of just the bullshit.
To happen after this
Panic, mayhem.
Keir Simmons, NBC News, London.
8 Houston firefighters who may have been exposed to the virus are now in self-quarantine. The 8 were possibly exposed to coronavirus in 2 separate incidents. 4 of them are quarantined in City K hotel rooms. The Houston Professional Firefighters Association says the city should have had a place for them to quarantine instead of scrambling to find rooms over the weekend. The other 4 firefighters who may have been exposed.
Well, I can't do it, man. I can't listen to all this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we don't hear about the people in China turning into zombies and starting to eat motherfuckers' brains. Let me tell you something, if that shit did happen, then we'd probably be pretty covered here in Texas as far as that shit goes, too. So, shame on you if you do turn into a brain eater. Because you're finna get lead poisoning, bitch. Okay, let's listen to, this is Adam Carolla and Pauly Shore. And this is Adam Carolla Talks Corona and Not the Beer Dudes. Pauly Shore's Random Rants 127. And that is on YouTube. It's Pauly Shore's the channel. And it's Pauly Shore's Random Rants, number 127. So let's see. We'll pack up a little bit. And we're here with Adam Carolla.
Here, so Adam, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Pauly. And I like the unnecessary wearing of the kerchief. Not since Scott Baio in Joni Loves Chachi, who used to wear one tied like a tourniquet around his thigh. Right. Google that shit, kids. Yeah. Have I seen the unnecessary use of a bandana and or kerchief?
He's actually very right about that. I apologize. So what should I do with it?
You should ball it up, put it in your mouth, and then take...
Okay, so look, this is Adam Carolla sucking Pauly Shore's nuts because Pauly Shore is now, his mom died and the Comedy Store is now under his fucking puppet control. In a nutshell.
Now, okay.
Oh, and Adam just got into stand-up 2 years ago.
I'll take it for...
Which also means it's never too late, guys, for you or for me to live your dreams.
Here, Pauly.
Okay, we'll see you later, you guys.
This is such a sad dwelling. Mouth, and then take a nap. Okay. Oh my God. I'll take it from here, Pauly.
Okay, we'll see you later, you guys.
This is such a sad dwelling for you.
Sorry.
You're a C-list celebrity. What are you living in this shithole for?
I'm sorry, Pauly.
There's no central air or heat. Where's the ducting, man?
Yeah. Anyways, we gotta say what's up to Koo. Koo's my Asian.
This way or this way?
This way.
You just positioned me right back where I was.
Sorry. Here, just scoot a hair. Right, Dave, just a hair to the left?
A hair to the left.
Okay, cool. So I want to say what's up to Koo. She's usually on the show, but she felt like flying out to Miami. So I hope you're okay, Koo. Give it up to Koo. We miss you. We love you.
I don't know her, but I'd like to say, hi, Koo.
Haiku.
I wrote a poem. It's 8 stanzas for you. Haiku.
Haiku. Okay.
I can't be the first person to make that joke.
Okay, so first of all,
do you know what a kerchief or haiku is?
I know.
I would like you to define kerchief or haiku.
Haiku
Can't
is
do a
something
line of
like
cocaine
weird
on it, he don't
apostrophe
know.
or some shit. Unlike
I love
some
it. LA Unified School District, everybody.
Pauly Shore
I
just
was
doing
ripping
rails
all
of
over when he
coke
was in the
still.
5th grade. I get it.
A
Obvious.
haiku is like a weird,
Motherfucker's
like,
got
isn't it like a
dope
weird
issues.
apostrophe or something like that?
It's a poem.
Okay, so I was close.
Oh yeah, sure. No, you were not close.
Okay, and then the other one you asked me was what?
Kerchief.
Kerchief is kind of like it's like a French handkerchief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what gay guys used to wear to let us know they were gay before they could come out of the closet, like
Correct.
in the 70s. You know, like
Yeah.
Paul Lynde and
I
guys
got.
like that.
I liked Paul Lynn.
Because you're gay.
Yeah, that's good. Here, wait, scoot just to the left of there. Okay. Hey, question.
Yeah.
Question. Do you feel that I have the coronavirus based off of where, I mean, take 3 seconds, like look around. Do you think that I'm one of the people that are actually carrying the coronavirus with, because you can have it and not know you have it?
I see you as a mule. I don't really see you as someone who's going to be stricken by it, but I see you as one who mules it in and spreads it amongst the community.
Right.
Like when someone's carrying drugs through an airport in Miami or going over the Mexican border. They're not consuming the drugs, they're carrying the drugs.
So you feel that it's in my system right now?
I
and I'm
feel like
giving-
you keistered a couple condoms full of coronavirus,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're just going to shit them out all over Silver Lake.
Right. So because I called my doctor up and I asked for the test, and they said they can't give me the test right away unless I have symptoms. So for instance, unless you start coughing and you can't breathe and all that stuff, you can't just all of a sudden get a test.
Here, let's do a reenactment. I'll play your doctor.
Okay.
You call me.
Okay, so
You gotta
Dr.
bring
Hello. Dr.
Hello.
Carnes, what's up? It's Pauly Shore.
Holly Shore. You're still alive?
Yes, I am. Listen, I've been watching this corona news virus shit for a long time now,
Yeah.
and I have to know. I'd like to take a test, the coronavirus test.
Oh, okay. Normally you're just being tested for syphilis because you bang all those floozies constantly. But
Doctor, I'm
okay.
just talking about the coronavirus.
I
Phil, what the
suppose we
fuck are you
could-
laughing at,
I'm
asshole?
tired. Hey, dude. Hey,
Sorry.
look, anything that prevents me from swabbing your cock for the 77th time. Okay, come on down.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'll just take some white vinegar, a little spit, and some mineral oil, and I'll like put it in a vial, and I'll go, this is it. And then I'll just say you tested negatively.
So I emailed you last night, and I said, you know, because obviously there's a lot of shit that's going on right now, and I said to you, I said, yo, are you cool still to do the podcast? And you're like, fuck, 100%.
Right,
So tell me why you
100%.
said 100%.
Sorry.
Because normally people would, you know, in the middle of all this thing, they're like, I'm fucking quarantined.
I don't give a shit about any of this stuff.
Right.
I don't use soap. I don't use shampoo. I don't use Perel. I never have. I barely shower. I jump in a freezing swimming pool every morning. I have an immune system that is of a sewer rat. I have been doing this my entire life. I eat food with mold on it. I eat shit that fell on the ground. I shake everyone's hand. When I'm done doing a comedy show,
Yeah.
I stand in the lobby of the theater or of
The
the
club, yeah.
club. I shake every single person's hand.
Yeah.
And then I go to my green room and I grab a handful of cashews and I just fucking throw them in my mouth as
Right.
I walk back to the hotel, and then I just go to bed. I never even wash my hands.
So then you could have the coronavirus. So you should call your fucking doctor.
I'm going to call your doctor. I don't trust my doctor. My doctor's Dr. Drew. That guy's a hack.
shit.
He does
He's
it.
probably getting a lot of phone calls right now.
He's like celebrity doctor. I don't even know if he's a real doctor. He may just be like the love
That's
doctor. you know?
hilarious. That's crazy. You're kind of like you're not affected by it
I
at
don't,
all.
I don't think about it.
Wow.
I have no concept of it. I didn't change my
Wow.
life at all.
Wow.
This last weekend, I went out to eat 3 times. I went to the Laugh Factory Friday night
Yeah.
and Saturday night. I was going to go to the Comedy Store, but the Comedy Store's down for a couple weeks. Then I was going to go to Flappers on Sunday night and the Laugh Factory, but they pulled the plug. So
Yeah.
I took my son out and we ate Mexican food.
Oh wow. So why don't maybe we could start doing some stand up here?
Yeah.
You know, we could do some fucking, I could call your sister lives next door.
I know my sister lives next door, and I don't mean up the street. I mean the building that is next to this building is where my sister lives. So I got a little screwed up with the waves. Like, you ever do a thing with the waves where you go, oh yeah, and you hit the thing, and then you start talking on the phone, and then at some point, I stopped directly in front of my sister's house because it said, here you are. And I was like, wait a minute, I hit my sister's house. Where's Polly's house? Because I'm staring at the front of her house. And then I called my assistant, and I was like, where does Polly live? Because I think I hit my sister's address by mistake. And then he said the same address, basically, as I was looking at.
So then I guess the moral of the story is, you guys, that I actually have a place to go now for the holidays.
Hold on, Shore. If you fuck my sister, I will be so
is she
fucking
married?
rip shit.
Is she married?
She is, but she may swing.
Wow.
I don't know.
But,
I don't know.
But one of my things is that, like, I don't have anyone in my life now because my parents are deceased. I don't talk to my brothers. I'm by myself. So a lot of times I'll look over the balcony and I'll see your sister with a group of people.
Yeah.
And now that I know that's Adam Carolla's sister, I'm like, hey, what's her name?
Lauren.
Lauren, what's up? It's Polly Strum, Adam Carolla's friend. Can I please come over for a plate of some turkey and fucking stuffing, please?
Yeah.
And she'll be like, yeah, absolutely. So you just broke the ice. Thank you. You're my new relative.
It's a double elbow.
This
I
is
like
good.
it. Yeah, come over. I swear to God,
That's amazing.
we did Thanksgiving 40 feet from here
That's
last
great.
Thanksgiving. So just show up.
That's great. You guys heard it, you guys. I'm now invited, right? And I mean, I just by myself.
Yeah.
I might bring Bill. Bill, come here, play a song. A Thanksgiving song.
Bill is not welcome.
He's not.
No.
Stay 6 feet, dude, because if anyone's got the fucking ski skill. Okay, Bill, play a Thanksgiving turkey song since Adam Carolla did what? Okay, come on. Gobble, gobble here. Gobble, gobble there.
Just fast forward.
You're really not. That's crazy because if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, you look at Tom Hanks, you look at all these celebrities, Michael Rappaport, everyone would go against what you're saying right now. Because what you're saying is like, fuck the virus, and what they're saying is stay the fuck in.
Look, what I'm saying is I'm either going to get it or I'm not going to get it.
Right. But you don't want to prevent yourself from ever getting it?
I don't think I have a say in it. I really don't.
Really?
I'm an atheist. I have no self-esteem. Not low self-esteem. I just don't exist. I just go through life.
Right.
That's how I've always done it.
Yeah.
I don't have a mask. I've never used
But then
Purell.
you don't think
I never
it's a
used soap.
different time, though?
I don't care.
You don't care.
I
hilarious.
just don't. I feel like if I get it, I'll just get it.
And deal with it.
Yeah, I'll just be like getting the flu.
Yeah, because I watch it on TV. It's like people get it and they say they fucking had it. I saw this one girl. Excuse me. I saw this one girl.
Oh my God, your belch smelled like a coronavirus belch. Wow.
I saw this one girl. She had it, and after she had it, she goes, "I had it. It was pretty bad, and she looked better than she did before because you sweat your shit out."
I would 69.
Fuck you, Paulie. Nobody wants to get that shit.
69,
like
not
a
even missionary.
Okay.
Like it's therapy. Come on.
So anyways,
are we going this way?
Yeah, we're going this way.
Okay.
So anyways, so the new norm back in the day was basically if you saw someone throw trash on the floor and you know someone littering, you would usually say to them like, "Hey, pick that shit up." Mm-hmm. And now when you go to the gym, if you don't wipe down your machine, they fucking yell at you like, "Motherfucker, wipe down your fucking thing." The new norm is like, you eat dinner, you don't wipe your shit down, people are gonna say something.
I went out, ate Mexican food, was sharing chips with my son, double dipping,
Yeah.
guac. We didn't wipe anything down.
Oh. Okay. Oops, sorry guys. Look, motherfucker, fuck. Oh! Hold on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. That's my fat finger. That's over to the board, and we hit the wrong thing. Look, we'll continue with Adam Carolla Talks Corona, and not the beer dudes. Polly Show, Random Rants, 127 body. I will take this as an opportunity to strengthen my mind, my body, and my spirit, and become less dependent on outside resources. And man, come on, how can that be bad for anyone? I eat too much junk food. Always be in better shape. Not getting any younger. So maybe we should focus on some of these things. And our family, what we can do, what we can help our family with, our neighbor, and the peoples that are going to actually make a difference in this world. We need to focus on. Okay, anyway, I was just saying that maybe this is an opportunity to focus on sustaining yourself without as much of a fucking dependence on highly processed products. Another thing is that I'm thinking a little bit out loud. We'll go back to the Pauly Shore and Adam Carolla view, but they're going to send everyone a stimulus money, right? And of however much. But the things that you don't need, the things that you need are not on the shelf for you to buy, then what good is the money? It's kind of like sending you an IOU for something that you need right now that you can't get anyway. Because that's crazy in this country right now that you can't find toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, disinfectant, and definitely you're not going to find hand sanitizer. Okay, back to we'll go back a minute or two so that we can catch up with Adam Carolla talks Corona on Pauly Shore's Random Rants number 127.
Go against what you're saying right now, because what you're saying is like fuck the virus, and what they're saying is stay the fuck in.
Look, what I'm saying is I'm either going to get it or I'm not going to get it.
Right. But you don't want to prevent yourself from ever getting it?
I don't think I have a say in it. I really don't.
Right.
I'm an atheist. I have no self-esteem. Not low self-esteem. I just don't exist. I just go through life.
Right.
That's how I've always done it.
Yeah.
I don't have a mask. I've never used
But then
Purell.
you don't think it's a different time, though?
I don't care.
You don't care.
I just don't. I feel like if I get it, I'll just get it
and deal with it.
Yeah, I'll just be like getting the flu.
Yeah, because I watched it on TV. It's like people get it and they say they fucking had it. I saw this one girl. Excuse me. I saw this one girl.
Oh my God, your belt
dirty
smelled
bastard.
like a coronavirus belt. Wow.
I saw this one girl. She had it, and after she had it, she goes, "I had it. It was pretty bad, and she looked better than she did before because you sweat your shit out."
I would 69 that chick this afternoon. 69, not even missionary.
Okay.
Not missionary.
Okay. So anyways,
are we going this way?
Yeah, we're going this way.
Okay.
So anyways, the new norm back in the day was basically if you saw someone throw trash on the floor and you someone littering, you would usually say to them like, "Hey, pick that shit up." Mm-hmm. And now when you go to the gym, if you don't wipe down your machine, they fucking yell at you like, "Motherfucker, wipe down your fucking thing." That the new norm is like, you eat dinner, you don't wipe your shit down, people are gonna say something.
I went out, ate Mexican food, was sharing chips with my son, double dipping, guac. We didn't wipe anything down. I left a nice tip and we left.
Right.
We're fine.
And no one said to clean it.
I'm not a hysteric.
Yeah.
You know where the word hysteric comes from?
No.
By the way, you know the word hysterectomy?
Yes.
Okay. Hysteric and hysterectomy, it comes from uterus. It's a female thing.
Right.
It's people are acting like my crazy mom.
Right.
Who's sadly still alive. I know you mourn the loss of your mother.
Yeah.
I mourn the fact that my mom is still alive.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So we both have our crosses to bear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So go on.
But the point is everyone's acting like a fucking hysteric.
They are.
More people die on the roads, in the highways, in the byways in a week in this country.
So you're saying a lot of it is the media, just like it's kind of like when O.J. Simpson, was on the Bronco, and it turned into like, what do they have, like 50 million people watch that?
Yeah.
Now this is like its own reality show. It's like the NBA's closing, the Coachella stopped, all this shit is stopping. You have to go inside, and I got a fake tech.
Now look, whenever I started writing out Robcast number 97, to interrupt them one more time, This coronavirus, COVID-19, was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the list. Down page 1. Okay? And now it's become everyone's lives 24 hours a day. Now it's become everyone's lives 24 hours a day. Because I wanted to talk about Atlantis, the early 1990s, late 80s, maybe early 90s releases of Atlantis. The fact that I really wanted to go to Skankfest South, and I was going to be talking about Michael Lehrer. So, yeah, fucking, if you can. Look, funny son of a bitch. I'd actually really like to have him on Robcast, and maybe we can see what we can do to make that happen. But Michael Lehrer, Michaelleherer. Yeah, Michael Lehrer. Check him out on YouTube. Check him out on Kill Tony. Check him out anywhere that he's at, because in an alternate universe, I think this guy and myself would be, I wouldn't even want to compare myself to the funniness of Michael Lehrer, but maybe in an alternate universe, we're working, we're on a show together or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, rock and roll, wishful thinking. But as far as I go, yeah, Spring Break 2020 is jacked up. That was just one of the things that I wrote down here. And that was before, way before all of this crap. And if you do hear a little bit of white noise or some things like that, I appreciate you tuning in, man. We want to give you all a wide perspective, or piss everybody off equally as far as the opinions and stuff going on, what's going on right now. But my honest advice would be for you to use your brain to look at what's going on around you, see who benefits from lying, see who benefits from telling the truth, see, what happens to people. And the next, it's going to take probably, they're talking about it's going to be around for a while, and it's probably changed the way that people are going to perform their everyday tasks. It's just something to think about. We're bigger than it is. You hear me? I'm saying we, you and I. And it's a basic fact that there's one thinking substance. If you just think about this for a moment, there's one intelligent substance that penetrates the universe. That's you, me, and everything that makes up everything in between, right? So what we have to do is focus on the things that we need to happen in this thinking substance. The beehive mentality is not good, but sometimes communal consciousness is good, all right? And if you have another beer, roll a big fatty, and let's go back to Adam Carolla Talks Corona on Pauly Shore's Random Rants, number 127. And if you want to see tell me what you think of Pauly Shore's Random Rants. You go on there, you tell me if you think he's done 7 lines of coke. The mixer guy that always has the mask on, it's probably because you really don't want to see his face. I'm just fucking with these guys.
Last night that they're going to quarantine. I was going to fly to fucking Maui and just go chill out there. But I got a text saying that he's going to ground all the air and you're literally not allowed to leave.
Look, all we do is overreact. Everything's a big deal. I don't buy into any of it. I wrote a book 10 years ago called 50 Years Wallaby Chicks, and it's happened a lot faster than that. So I'm going to live my life.
Yeah, so that's okay.
And then, I like the empty restaurants and the open roads. I'm going full of Mega Man. Like, I may just walk into a BMW dealership after I leave here and just get in a new 5 Series and start off and drive right through the fucking glass.
And then
full Omega Man. Like, I'm packing a submachine gun. I got druids looking for me, trying to eat my flesh. I'm going to be playing chess with a bust of Caesar. And I go, it's your move, Imperator. And I do that.
Yeah, so let's talk about how much it...
We hitting these marks again?
Let's just talk about how much it's affect the economy, though. Now, seriously.
Yes.
We are...
Yeah.
I canceled all my fucking tour. You did what, too? You had to cancel your tour.
I have a couple dates coming up in a couple of weeks. So
right?
I don't know if they're canceled or
but
not.
But that affects
yet.
your pocketbook. It affects the servers. It affects the club owners. My point is that I get your take on the fact is you don't give a fuck about getting it, not getting it.
Right.
But what's your take on the economy? Because if you think about it, everything is shut down. People are losing a lot of money.
Yeah, no, it's sad. I went into I went and had lunch with my sister yesterday. That one.
Why didn't you invite
me? You fucker, Polly. You are a dead man. Don't you hug my sister the way you just hugged me.
Okay, go.
All right. I had lunch with her in an empty restaurant, and then I went out and had dinner with my son in an empty restaurant. Yeah. And I feel sorry for all those people who have to show up, who rely on tips and whatnot. It's sad. It's generally unnecessary, in my opinion. My kid's school system is shut down. I mean, they don't need to be shut down.
But
they could go to school.
They are shut down. I heard in Italy, and I don't know if this is true, because the whole of Italy is shut down. I heard that because they're so shut down, the government there is actually going to pay for 2, 3, 4 months of mortgage. So, for instance, there's a lot of people that they laid off or they're not working. How are they going to afford their rent?
Well, first off,
the government. You're friends with Trump, right? I mean, you know Trump. So, well, I know Trump. I mean, I know Trump too.
Government,
from back in the day. But don't you think it would be cool if Trump and his team basically said, you know what, everyone got fucked in this last couple months. Don't worry about your mortgage for a couple months, because I think that right there is the most stressful thing for me, especially. Like, I go out on the road, I make money, I pay whoever I have to pay, my business managers, my agents, my mortgages and stuff like that. I don't have that coming in. Right. So a lot of people don't have that coming in. So what's your take on the government doing what Italy did? Because I think that would be pretty fucking awesome.
All right. First off,
text Trump.
All right, couple things. First off, in Italy, they don't have mortgages because all the adult males live at their fucking mom's house. That's what's going on. So nobody has rent or mortgage because all the guys that are 40 years old live at home and their mama cooks them meatballs and does their laundry all day. So that's Italy. Number one, I'm Italian. I can make fun of wops. Number one. Number two, fuck us and our mortgages. I mean, look, we're rich whitey. You got a mortgage. I got a few mortgages. I got some warehouses.
Well, we save some money, but there's a lot of people like Dave. They live paycheck to paycheck, Dave. Tell them.
Paycheck to paycheck's rough, man.
But Dave's a renter. And that's what I'm saying. I sized the boy up. He's definitely a renter.
The kid with the mask.
So here's the deal.
Okay.
I would like President Trump to pay everyone's rent. Leave the mortgage people alone. Okay. We have some equity built up.
Okay.
If you have a mortgage, theoretically, you got a little something put away. I'd say the people who are renting are probably a little more desperate than the people that are owning at this point, at least for the first couple months.
So tell him right now, he's watching because he's a big fan of Random Rants, and tell him that he should pick up like rent for guys like my friend Dave and Bill and stuff like that. Bill's a renter too.
I know. I can see that.
Yeah,
believe me. I know what a renter looks like. I cross the street when I see guys like this come in my direction. These are clearly renters. I'd rather hang out with MS-14 than hang out with the renters. Anyway.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. It's a Honduras street gang, I think, or something. President Trump. It's the Ace Man. Remember? You fired me from Celebrity Apprentice. But I'll tell you this. I will forgive you if you pay the rent for the Americans, the hardworking Americans who are now quarantined and need you to pay the rent for it. I have 3 of them right here.
Yeah.
So obviously there's going to be an epidemic of people not being able to pay the rent. So please step up, be generous, open your pocketbook.
Yeah.
And when you see, does Mike Pence ever see you checking out YouPorn on your phone? It's a random question. Forget that. Pay everyone's rent.
I think you should pay everyone's rent. And on that one, Bill, guess what time it is? It's what? Time for what?
We're hit number 2,
We're
man.
at number 2. On him. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really so far beneath you. The tile work around that sink makes me want to vomit. You know, I used to be a contractor. You'd have no bullnose going around that sink. You just have end tiles that were cut.
I'm a renter too, so thank you for letting me know. You want some tuna fish and crackers?
Yeah, it's about time. I've been here for almost 18 minutes, and I've had almost no tuna fish.
You like tuna
I like
fish?
some tuna fish. Who doesn't like tuna fish?
Tuna fish is the best,
I
right?
gotta say this. Am I still talking to Trump?
Yes.
Trump,
Here.
if you're gonna pay the rent of Americans, thank you.
Yeah.
And you find out that one doesn't enjoy tuna salad, cut them off.
Tuna fish is good. You like tuna fish? This is good.
You can't go wrong.
A lot of people, I bring a lot of comics on, they don't want me to cook for them. They get disgusted. You, on the other hand.
You know the thing about comics? They're mostly hypochondriac pussies, you know?
They are. I agree.
I'm including you.
I agree. I'm a hypochondriac pussy.
I'm not that way. I'm salt of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on a construction site. I ate shit off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
You got salami there.
Yeah, I got
Go
some
ahead.
fresh
Touch
salami.
everything with your hand. You know what?
You said you don't care, bro.
I don't care. Use that salami like a moist towelette and wipe down your balls, and then I'll eat it. Like a moist Italian towelette. Just wipe down that sack. Lisa. God,
Hey, you know what I think?
Too. Yeah.
You know what I think we need to do, seriously? I think we need to sing, since we're all quarantined, I think we need to sing our little Italian outside of the window. Go sing the Italian.
We'll just fast forward a little bit.
Again, people are
Those
acting.
two old fucks can't draw, man. There's nobody there. They didn't sell any tickets at all.
No,
They just don't draw.
no, they didn't do it because
Yeah, because they're not headliners, man. You on CNN to watch the synopsis of it, they were like, "Oh, Biden crushed it."
Yeah.
So I think they would like to see Biden in there, and I think most of America would, because I think they think he has a better shot at beating Trump.
Yeah, here, come over here, because now that I know that you're not scared about being next to me, because we were going to do it back there. Here, lean in over here. Just lean down there like that.
Mm-hmm.
This looks good, Dave?
Yeah, that looks great, guys.
Should he lean back or no?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, because the Russians wanted Bernie Sanders to win, because the Russians felt like grab Kamala Rice.
Right.
And how's that going to play?
Well, that's going to be weird because she doesn't exist, but I think he may off in Seattle by the North Koreans or something, or another coronavirus type situation. Or there's another scenario, which is if you turn on the news, it's just all chaos all the time. And I have a thought that even if the economy's good and unemployment is good and the general life of Americans is good, if you turn on the news and it's all chaos all the time, at some point people will do what I do with my kids, where at some point you just go, "Hey fuckers, eat Snickers bars for breakfast. I don't care. I can't take it anymore."
Right.
And then you just leave the house. Wow. So I think there's going to be a certain percentage of Americans that vote for Biden just to make it stop. Just so they can turn on the evening news
and have
not
it be like
just calm. They don't have to argue with their relatives. They don't have to hear about people fist fighting in the streets. It'll be nothing. We'll just go right back to boring nothingness.
And on that note, I think it's time for me and you to sing some Italian outside.
Okay. So there you have it. That's a little bit of Pauly Shore and Adam Carolla giving their opinion on what the heck is going on. So as we listen to this, we know that if you get the symptoms, just fever, shortness of breath, flu-like symptoms, you call your local physician or your health authority. Get permission from them to go take a test. Then you get a secret number that they give you that you give the test site. And then they swab you and they send you about your business and let you know whether you have been tested positive for the virus or if you just have the flu or whatever else. However, other than putting you on a ventilator for your respiratory conditions, there we have it on the news. Tom Hanks' wife recovering from COVID-19, which stands for coronavirus 2019. Oh. There is no vaccination. There is no vaccine for it. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be the next thing. Everyone get vaccinated for the COVID. Where did it come from? Honestly, where did it come from? We need to find that out. We need to know. As Americans, that's our fucking right to know. I had a list of just things that were starting to close as far as events. And then it's just, everything shut down. So basically everything shut down. And one other little audio nugget that we might check out is Hollywood Babylon with Ralph Garman and Kevin Smith, which also you can check out the Adam Carolla show. You can check out a lot of the different Kevin Smith programs, including Hollywood Babylon. And if you're a podcast fan, please download and check out the Spreaker podcast app, and also follow Robcast Radio there. You can check out Adam Carolla show. Some of my favorites are the Joe Rogan Experience. He's on there, and he had a really interesting. Maybe we'll reference the JRE, and I'll say you just go listen to that yourself. The Joe Rogan Experience that he had was concerning that he had a health specialist on there. He had a super high level person that understands all of that in his name. I'll get his name. We'll go over that one. But Hollywood Babylon with Ralph Garman and Kevin Smith. See if we can find that audio and we'll rock it out for you. Okay, we're gonna join Ralph Garman and Kevin Smith right here at Spreaker Podcast, Hollywood Babylon, number 357. Social distancing Babylon.
So we are socially distanced from one another, but more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we are socially distanced from you. You ain't gonna get the coronavirus from us.
No.
Best piece of advice before we jump into all the shenanigans: if you're listening to this right now, go wash your hands.
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
We'll wait.
Yeah, man. In silence. But we'll sing happy birthday twice to ourselves.
That's
quietly.
right.
We were supposed to be doing shows at the end of the month. I've been on the road with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot Roadshow Tour. Thank the fucking good Lord above. Thanks, Smog, if you will, that is over before all of a sudden we've been shuttered into our house.
That would have been a problem.
Oh, look, I'm not like underplaying how horrible pandemic is, but you know, all these businesses getting hit and shit like that, mine would have been hit just as hard if I still had to go out and tour. So mercifully, that tour is over. And thank Christ, people came out for it, man. And every night of that tour, I saw you and I saw people fucking like react to you, respond to you, rounds of applause every time you hit the screen. It was fucking beautiful. Particularly strongest every place we've ever been. So I could always gauge, like, you know, we do road shows a lot. I do road shows with Babylon. I do them with Jay and stuff. I've done stand-up by myself and whatnot. But every time, you know, we were in 65 cities. Every time, 67 if you count the European side, like, because I went to London.
Right.
Every time I could gauge whether Babylon had been there or not by how deafening the applause got. There was always applause because there's always Babylon people in the audience. There's always like the podcast people in the audience. That's primarily how we sold our tickets, right? So naturally there's always like, hey, it's fucking him. But the cities where we've ever, I mean, fucking Philly, fuck, dude, you could have run for mayor. based on your applause level alone and shit like that. So it was a wonderful reminder throughout the entire tour of like, oh, I've got this other life waiting for me back at home. And what I'm working on right now is, since we've got time and we're trapped in the house and stuff,
Nothing but.
I'm going back through all the Jay and Silent Bob reboot footage and just putting together like the cut scenes. So what I'm building right now is, if you saw Jay and Silent Bob reboot, you saw Ralph played the great
Ted Underhill.
Ted Underhill, which of course is a big Fletch shout out.
Right.
You know, he was like, fine, I'll read my credit card number out loud to show you, blah, blah, blah. And then he reads 3 numbers. And then we cut to Fred Armisen pulling up and stuff. We shot like a whole other bit where Ralph finishes, and I'm going to build it. Ralph finishes the number, and then we kept adding stuff where...
We never got to the security questions.
Yes.
There were a great number of security questions
and
that were also being asked
out
to me over the phone.
My mother's name!
So I could prove my identity.
And it was always a series of Jay going like, yeah, but we don't have a security code. And then all of a sudden Ralph would fucking throw it out.
We'll never guess his first pet's name.
So I'm going to put that together. And here's my question to you. Yes. Do you want it for Ralph Report Patreon, or do you want it...
Ooh.
I could go on to My World. Is it an exclusive for you to say, hey,
that
people,
would be a nice dangle.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, come in and watch this.
That would be a great special offer. If you signed up now, you get to see the remainder of Ralph's footage. Right, just do little plays for people.
All the time. And packed houses and had a circuit. Well, and then we've perfected this touring thing for ourselves. Not for the world, but like started with Red State. All right.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So,
and here I am, by the way, social distancing with a guy who has seen more people and been in contact with more people in the past 3 months than anyone in the United States. What am I thinking? As you cough, I'm thinking that's it. I'm walking out of here with a fever.
I was in Trader Joe's for a minute yesterday because I'm not one of these people that's like, let's go fucking emergency shopping, until I read an article where it said weed stores overrun, and yesterday morning I was like, oh fuck. And I called up the weed store, and I was like, is it end of the world crowded there? And the guy goes, no, man, it's cool. Come on in. And I was like, my people. So I for the second that I started ever getting about, when they use the word pandemic and stuff, I'm not a big germaphobe and stuff, but I can read the tea leaves. It's like something bad is happening. Right. Shit, and it's only going to get worse. But I think it was Jennifer that calmed me down, or either her or Jordan, one of the two said, you just got home from a 65 city tour across 3 countries, and you didn't even get a cold. Like, I think your immune system's in good shape. Yeah. But, as we all know, that's not the thing. It's about
be a carrier.
And I live in a house with elderly people. Jen's parents live with us. So now we are literally socially distancing ourselves from them. We're like, hi, guys. Can't run the risk of being somebody, as you said, who's been out there in the world and shit.
Typhoid Kevin.
Yeah. But you got one of them you got a kid. Those are fucking ground zero for germs and shit.
They don't get it, apparently.
No, they just pass it the fuck on.
Like rats. They're like the rats during the plague.
Isn't that incredible?
They just scurry around and just give it to everybody else.
In more ways than one, Ralph. They're like rats during the fucking plague. Did your kid's school get canceled?
Yeah, she's home now.
And for how long?
Until after spring break. So she won't be back into school, depending on what happens with everything, until mid-April.
What happens then? Do they make them go to school until July?
No, what they're doing, at least with her school, is they're trying a new technique of homeschooling via the virtual world. So she'll have virtual classes from now until spring break, when she would get her normal time off, and then they'll reevaluate and see if they'll continue that way or they'll get back into the classroom after that.
What a dream, man. When I was in school, the dream was always like, go to school but without your pants on. Yeah, you could literally do that.
Yes.
I thought, well, that was the nightmare, actually. But now you can do it in a dream way. You can be literally in class with your pants off. And if you're quiet enough, what grade is this?
She's in 4th.
All right, so let's move this up a little bit before I go further. Let's say you're a college kid and you're doing this virtual class thing. You could literally jerk off while class is going on, and people wouldn't know it.
That's where you go. That's where your mind goes.
I mean, you got to find an edge to silver lining to this fucking cloud. Not for teachers. No, I'm saying you keep another window open where you're learning and watching porn at the same time.
I got you. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. This is another experiment. She's going to have to be responsible for her own assignments, and they'll assign the work, but she's got to do it on her own. It's like independent study for a 9-year-old. How successful is that model going to be? We'll find out.
What if they find out that they could do it and they don't need the old model and shit?
Well, they already said that the social aspect of going to school is going to be the most detrimental for these kids who aren't spending time in the class. Prolonged time out of school combined with prolonged, they're really begging...
Screen time. A lot more screen time.
More screen time, and they're also begging kids not to get together in large social groups, so no play dates, none of this. It's very isolating, and they say that can have a real bad effect on kids. So
I think kids are going to see it like woohoo because they're already fucking faces in screens, this whole generation.
Yeah. I don't know.
And now they're like, now you're going to go to school on the fucking screen, too.
But my kid, he's on the fourth grade girls soccer team. She loves her team, and she loves her play dates, and they get together in groups, and she won't be able to do any of that. So we'll see. It's a long time for a 9-year-old to sort of be just with mom and dad.
And you can't even, and now that means she's home with you.
Yeah.
So you can't even be like, let's go to Disneyland.
No.
That fucker's gone, too.
Universal Studios closed.
Disneyland's
Farms closed.
I'm sure most people saw the factoid online, but they've closed only 3 times prior to this, and each of those times only for 1 day apiece.
Yep.
Right now they're closed till April, May.
April. Mid-April.
Mid-April. So the only 3 other times that closed Disneyland: assassination of Kennedy.
Yep.
The Northridge earthquake.
Right.
Which, for those who are like, what the fuck is that? There's a pretty big earthquake out here, I guess.
Yeah.
And how did that affect Disneyland? Was Disneyland affected? Or were
they were just careful because it had been the biggest serious quake in
so
some time.
So they had to go check all their tracks.
Yeah, gotta make sure.
And then the third one was, of course, September 11th.
Yeah, 1 day each.
Disney World has just, I believe, announced they are also shutting down. This is the real fucking deal.
Disney Paris shut.
The biggest, though, when this got real for everybody was when the first celebrity was hit. And they couldn't have picked a worse celebrity to go after. The one who must be saved at all cost. Tom Hanks.
It was like you were writing a parody of a pandemic movie.
In which Tom Hanks was the star.
Yes. Or even, no, he's like the surprise cameo. It's like you and I are goofing around in a pandemic parody comedy, and we're like, oh no, the first celebrity got it. Cut to Tom Hanks doing us a favor and playing himself in that cameo.
Right.
Where he's in Australia in an isolation room holding the volleyball.
Who got him, me or you?
You did.
I don't have any connection to Hanks. This fantasy falls right the fuck apart for me because I'm like, how? Unless Ralph got him, how did we get Hanks in our movie?
Well,
if we got Hanks in our movie, fuck the virus. We win. Well, that's how we win, Ralph.
It turns out Colin Hanks is a real good friend of mine.
Oh,
because
that's right. He's been on your show.
Our kids go to school together.
Oh.
So Colin and I are school dad buddies. We do that stuff. And so when it happened, I reached out and I said, I feel bad because I know you're going to get bombarded and stuff, but I just want to reach out and tell you, we're thinking of you and everything. And he wrote back very funny. He's like, thanks, pal. I appreciate it. He goes, by the way, they got in Australia. I haven't seen my dad in a while. I know I gave your kid a ride home the other day. She doesn't have it. So he was more concerned about our social circle than his parents. But yeah, it was nuts. And it really
drove Colin.
That's a stoner call.
Cock knocker.
A famous face will hang a level of sincerity and seriousness on a disaster more than anything else in this country.
Kidding, man.
It's like when Rock Hudson got AIDS, remember?
And suddenly people are like, now it's
this is a disease. This is a real disease.
When I walked into Trader Joe's for a minute with the kid yesterday, the lines were 25 person deep.
I haven't even gone.
And to be fair, Trader Joe's was doing a wonderful job processing people. But I walked in, saw that, I was like, I ain't waiting here, I'm gonna go outside. And I coughed and fucking everybody looked. And then I was like, stoner. And they were like, all right, everybody
cool, man.
Went back to normal and shit. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, coughing is a real trigger for a lot of people. But, brother, if I don't cough, it ain't as good.
That's true.
Coughing makes it better.
I'm buying into a lot of it, but I'm not buying into the panic, hoarding, shopping phase.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of disaster, in my opinion. This isn't an earthquake or fire situation where all the shit's going to go away. I can't imagine they're going to close the grocery stores last if they have to close shit down. You know what I mean? I think you can still get a burrito.
And also, I'm like, toilet paper is what you're worried about? Like, water. Like, if they told me, like, oh, the fucking water's being bought, I'd be like, I bet you, man, I bet you. But toilet paper, it's like,
even water, there's a pipe. I don't know if you've seen it by your sink. And it's got a handle on either side. And if you turn that, now this is going to sound crazy, but water just fucking flows out of it.
Bullshit. How much? How much?
Nothing. Just turn it on.
What does it cost me?
Just turn it on.
I don't believe it. Fuck your
We'll
fantasy.
bill you at the end of the month.
I need my Poland Springs.
We'll bill you at the end of the month.
Toilet paper? Like, maybe it's just me, but like, I got so many books. I got so many fucking, like, I got plenty of shit to wipe my ass with. And I'll just, like, turn on the shower, fucking grab a shower nozzle, douche that shit out.
If I gotta wash myself off, I wash myself off.
Totally, man. Yeah. Maybe I'll learn something new. Maybe I'll be like, hey, this is the way it always should have been. This is a cleaner wipe.
Paper's for animals.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you step in dog shit, you try to clean your shoe with paper, how much is left behind?
I'm not walking into the house, that's for sure.
Certainly not on your asshole, and if you can, then you're like my dog Shecky.
It means my glands need to be expressed.
I did that on the road.
No,
Shecky
you
at
didn't.
one point, like, joined me for the last 15 dates. She looked great.
Yeah, I did.
And at one point, like, she's eating a lot of fucking greasy fast food, so I'm like, I should probably get her fucking shit expressed, because she was, like, doing the ass shuffle on the carpet.
Yeah.
And I brought her in, and where were we? Fuck. It was Delaware? No. Fuck. Somewhere on the East Coast, man. And maybe Georgia. And went into a vet's office, and they were like, do you have an account with us? And I'm like, do you need that to squeeze this dog's anal veins? Like, how much about me do you need to know? How much about her do you need to know?
What kind of history, medical history, do you need to get a tissue and squeeze this dog's ass?
Do you want me to tell you about the time she got in a fight with Marty, and Marty bit her ass? She had a tube in her ass for like a month? Does that count? Can't you just squeeze this dog? Show me how to do it, and I'll do it. I just don't know how to
you
do
don't
it.
want to do it.
Have you ever seen it done?
Yes.
What happens?
It's
Where is it?
well, the gland is
The actual ring piece?
around the asshole, yeah. And, you know...
What do you mean? How did you see?
Austin Pendleton.
Austin, yes. Austin is playing Elvis.
Yes.
And which one is Austin Pendleton? Is that the
And why?
world? Took all of my touring business. Like, we want it here.
You know that little side hustle you have?
Yeah.
Well, now that's
It became they I guess what he realized over time was like, well, he's concentrating less on fucking movie making, and he's making the. So
you can't take any action.
the conclusion is,
Virus betting.
I was gonna go Fight Club, but I guess yours is more more relevant.
Underground sports is
If the audience was there, there were moments when they were bellowing at the audience, but it's very strange. Their entries,
dear
are
Lord.
very more relevant.
Underground sports, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it would have to be at that point, right? Yeah. Did you see the WWE broadcast? I mean, maybe not watch it, but anything of it?
No.
So last
People
night
in jail
they
are
did,
tripping, thinking they all gonna
like,
get this
Friday Night
virus,
Live or whatever,
turn into zombies.
SmackDown.
yeah, with no audience whatsoever.
How do you do that sport with no audience?
It's really when you realize how big a portion of the fucking whole show the audience is.
Hell yeah.
But to give them credit, they put on a show as if the audience was there. There were moments when they were bellowing at the audience, but it's very strange. Their entries,
Dear
are
Lord.
very strange. Like John Cena, how do you say
Cena.
it? John Cena was on the show, and he came out in his jorts and shit. And you imagine if that was happening on a regular SmackDown, he's fucking huge now, this guy.
Yeah.
You'd imagine it would have been like Christ, returning to Jerusalem or whatever the fuck. And instead, it's just a guy in jorts walking down a little ramp and pointing at the camera. And it's empty rows behind them. It was surreal. It was very surreal to watch. The other night, Seth Meyers lost his audience, or they kept the audience away.
Right.
And then they tried to do, or did,
Monologue?
he did like a closer look. He's like, look, we don't have an audience. We don't know when we're coming back. And I don't even know if they put it on the air or if it was just like they put it up on the YouTube channel. But they're like, we wrote, a closer look last. so we're going to shoot it. And he wasn't even wearing a suit. He was literally just wearing the street clothes and stuff.
Wow.
And it was surreal. Like every time where you would expect to hear the audience laugh, no laughter. There's a clip from The View where they open up the show and Whoopi's talking to the audience and the audience is not there, but yet their kinetic energy is still high, like the music sign, like welcome to The View, because they got to do it for the home audience. Like us, like, you know, we're talking in more conversational style than we ever. I literally went through the history of my agents. Something that we never would have done in a live setting. You modulate based on what you're doing. But that's because we're a podcast and it's going to go home, people listen, and it's a different medium. These cats are used to doing a show for the people in the room and all the people watching at home.
Yes.
And if it's not the same show, like if they were like, welcome to The View, man, like, and kept everything as low-key as we're being and shit, you break the model. You break the brain of the audience and shit. So that's still true. They started the show with sweeping cameras and kinetic energy and just like, yeah, we're here. And then they cut to an audience.
I'm having flop sweat just hearing you tell the story.
It's crazy, but at the same time, are they flopping? You know, because it's like nobody's in the room. I would have grabbed some staff and stuck them in chairs for some, I don't know, some occasional laughter and shit. Which is, I think, what Seth had, because in the background you could hear
the writers laughter.
Yeah. Wow. But it's crazy, man, looking at that. And then have you seen, like, in heavy rotation online, is the clip from the end of Planet of the Apes, the remake Planet of the Apes, where, like, it just covers the globe slowly and you watch the lights go out. Yeah. It's the same thing, like Pandemic. I forgot. Like, it wasn't like the apes hunted them to extinction. It's like a virus knocks out most of the world. And in the very beginning, like, the apes just took off into the woods. Yeah. And then fucking, like this one's on. They got footage of Obama going, like, just get with your families and get safe. Like, it's so well done. But now when you watch it, you're like, it's prophetic.
Shit ain't funny anymore.
Oh my God, we're living in Planet of the Apes. Then there was a clip online somewhere in the world where they got, like, monkeys running around in the marketplace. Like, you know, fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark. Where tourists usually are. And they buy food and fucking hand it off to the monkeys. Since there are no tourists, since the marketplace is, like, essentially fucking barren and closed, all the monkeys that normally gather there have gathered in droves, and they're having these wars over what limited
monkey
means
fights,
there are.
yeah,
So the streets are filled with monkey fights, like surreal
monkey fights.
If we all survive this particular moment in time, this might be an unbreakable world, shy of, like, nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, or unless the next virus that comes through isn't
no shit.
Fuck around. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh no.
Can't it be as bad as it gets?
No, not as long as the people are still eating bats and shit. There's going to be something.
Is that the source of the? Do you know that for a fact? Is that the origin?
That's
of
what
the
they're.
Or is that from
that's
Contagion?
No, that's what they're guessing. That it started in China, in one of these black markets, food markets, where people eat weird shit that you're not supposed to eat, and they definitely know it was the coronavirus in general is largely carried by animals, and then occasionally it will make the jump to our species, and they think that's what happened. That someone tried to eat something exotic like a bat or something.
That literally sounds like
that was infected.
In Contagion, it's a bat eating some fucked up fruit and then like drooling on it or whatever, and then the fucked up fruit falls on the ground, and then the pig ate that fruit, and then they kill the pig and they serve it in that was the source of it.
Yeah. Good times.
We don't know.
Hey, we're at The View, everybody.
Yeah, fucking.
Dow is it?
No, it's going to change.
$18.99.
Zeitgeist for sure. I think it's going to be a major shift initially, and then I'm guessing America, especially being America, will just all forget about it and go back to life as usual.
Fingers crossed, man.
I don't think anybody's going to take any lessons from this.
What are you going to do with your time down? Probably the same fucking.
I don't have any time down.
Time on. That's
I've
right.
been prepping for this for 2 years.
Disaster prepper Ralph Garman.
My life is.
It's a dream for podcasters
to
right
exist
now, right?
in this world because
Not leave the house.
I work from home. I work with myself, and Eddie Pence sits across the table from me, and we do the daily show, and it's just all internet and home based, so I don't have to go anywhere and see anybody or do anything, and I haven't practically for 2 years.
You just gotta hope that Eddie Pence don't get sick.
Yeah, really. So back to on my own again.
On my own.
All by myself.
Once again.
Don't wanna be
We're doing two different songs.
I know, we're doing a mashup.
Yeah, it was sweet, man. We were breaking fuckers' brains. We were forcing different hemispheres of their brains to snap to life. What can people expect of Hollywood Babylon right now, you're asking? A lot of this.
For better or for worse.
Right on. So there you have it. Number 357, Social Distancing Babylon, right here. Spreaker Podcast, go and check that out. And up next, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to listen in a little bit of the Joe Rogan Experience. Number 1439 with Michael Osterholm.
Let us know.
All right, we're going
what we
to
should be
listen in
worried
a
about,
little
where
bit
we're at.
here.
And it was eye opening, and he's also the author of Deadliest Enemy, Our War Against Killer Germs. So please welcome Michael Osterholm.
Most of all, trying to respond to situations just like that. Just diseases down, trying to stop them, trying to understand.
Well, tell everybody what you do, Michael.
Well, thank you. I'm for lack of a better term, a medical detective. I've spent my whole career tracking infectious diseases down, trying to stop them, trying to understand where they come from so we can make sure they don't happen in the first place. But most of all, trying to respond to situations just like this.
Just like this. And just off the bat, how serious is this? Is this something that we need to be terrified of, or is this overblown, or how do you stand on this?
Well, first of all, you have to understand the timing of it in the sense that it's just beginning. And so in terms of what hurt, pain, suffering, death has happened so far is really just beginning. This is going to unfold for months to come yet. And that's, I think, what people don't quite yet understand. What we saw in China, I'm convinced, as are many of my colleagues, as soon as they release all of these social distancing, these mandated stay-in-homes, haven't left their home in weeks and weeks kind of thing, when they go back to work, they're on planes, trains, subways, buses, crowded spaces, manufacturing plants. Even China is going to come back again. And so this really is acting like an influenza virus, something that transmits very, very easily through the air. We now have data to show that you're infectious before you even get sick. And in some cases, quite highly infectious. Just breathing is all that you need to do. So from this perspective, I can understand why people would say, well, wait a minute, flu kills a lot more itself every year than this does. And I remind people this is just the beginning. Probably the best guesstimate we have right now on what limited data we have would say this is going to be at least 10 to 15 times worse than the worst seasonal flu year we see.
10 to 15 times worse in terms of fatalities?
Yeah. And just illness. In fact, I brought some numbers. We conservatively estimate that this could require 48 million hospitalizations, 96 million cases actually occurring, over 480,000 deaths that can occur over the next 3 to 7 months with this situation. So this is not one that to take lightly. And I think that's what I can understand if you say there's only been 10 deaths or 20 deaths or 50 deaths. Just remember, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about almost no cases in the United States. And now that we're testing for it and watching the spread as it's unfolding, those numbers are going up astronomically. 3 weeks ago, Italy was just in life just fine. Now they're literally in a virtual shutdown in the northern parts of Italy. And that's the challenge with an infectious disease like this. It can spread very quickly, and it also can affect people. I think maybe to put this into modern terms, because this is something we think of often when we think of pre-antibiotic days, the old-time medicine. We have an employee at our Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, and she has a dear friend who lives in Milan, Italy, and she works at a hospital there. And she texted us to this employee of ours last night. And this was an email that came out yesterday from one of their physicians in Milan at the largest hospital there. And he said, I just got a very disturbing message from a cardiologist at one of the Milan's largest hospitals. They're deciding who they have to let die. They aren't screening the staff anymore because they need all hands on deck, and they have very small areas of the hospital dedicated to non-COVID patients where they still screen doctors. Everybody else is dedicated to COVID patients, so even if they're positive, meaning that they're sick, but they don't have a severe cough or fever, then they have to work. He says that they're seeing an alarming number of cases in the 40-something age range, and these are horrible cases. So we need to stop thinking that this is only an old person's disease. This is what's going to unfold, not just in Wuhan, it's unfolding in Milan, it's unfolding here in Seattle, and this is what's going to continue to rollingly unfold throughout the world.
Yeah, where did this rumor come from that it's an old person's disease? Is it just because the majority of the people that have died from it so far have been older?
Yes. In fact, that's the primary risk factor for dying, is being old and then having certain underlying health problems. For example, in China, those men over the age of 70 who also smoked, were 8 to 10% of them died. 65% of older Chinese men smoke. The case fatality rate, or the percentage of people who die in women in that same age group, is only about 2%. In that case, very few women smoke. Now, the challenge we have is that that's the Chinese data, but there are a series of risk factors that we worry about that, if they overlay on this disease, are going to cause bad outcomes. And we happen to be right at ground zero for one of the major ones here in this country, and that's obesity. We know that obesity is just like smoking in terms of its ability to really cause severe life-threatening disease, and 45% of our population today over the age of 45 in this country are obese or severely obese, men and women. So one of the concerns we have is we're going to see more of these, what I guess I would call very serious and life-threatening cases occur in our country because of a different set of risk factors than we saw in China.
Now, you mentioned that there's some sort of incubation period before people become sick, they're still contagious. What is this incubation period, and how do we know about it?
When we call something an incubation period, we're talking about from the time you and I got exposed, meaning I was in a room breathing the air that somebody else who was infected with the virus was expelling out, I breathed it in. How long from that time period until the time period that you get sick, and what is that? That's what we call the incubation period. So that's when case numbers can double or triple in every so many days. In this case, it's about 4 days. So, and we actually have data there from people who were exposed one time or one time only. And we know when they were exposed, where they were exposed, and how soon do they get sick afterwards. So the chauffeur in the car where an individual was sick, showing symptoms, then the chauffeur gets it 4 days later. You know, they were there one time only.
And if the chauffeur does not show any symptoms, he's still contagious.
He could also be contagious too, and that's one of the things that's challenging here is you and I might get exposed to somebody who is totally asymptomatic, no symptoms. That virus would appear, well, that's not a very strong virus. But in fact, when it infects us, it could kill us. So we've seen cases of fatal disease that were exposed to people that had minor symptoms themselves.
Wow.
And this is what's unfolding here, and this is where I think is such an important. And I said why the timing is so important, because Joe, we've always got to get information out to the public. There is so much misinformation right now, and we're going to be in this for a while. This is not going to happen overnight. And I worry. I keep telling people we're handling this like it's a corona blizzard. 2 or 3 days, we're back to normal. This is a coronavirus winter, and we're going to have the next 3 months or more, 6 months or more, that are going to be like this. And so far this thing has been unfolding exactly as we predicted it. We in our center put out a piece on January 20th and said this is going to spread worldwide. At the time people said, no, it's just China. We put out a piece the first week of February and said this is going to pop probably the last week of February, first week of March, because what happens is it has what's called an R0, or a doubling time of these every 4 days. So it increases doubling every 4 days. So if you go from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, it takes a while to build up. But when you start going from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 4,000, that's what we're seeing happen in places like Italy. We're beginning to see it in some ways up in Seattle. It's what happened in China. And, when people are confronted with that, suddenly this low risk phenomena that everybody talks about isn't so low anymore. And that's what we need to prepare people for.
Now, what can be done? Like, what can the average person do? I see people walking around with masks on, wearing gloves. Is that nonsense?
Largely, yes. Yeah. First of all, let's step back. The primary mechanism for transmission is just the respiratory route. It's just breathing. In studies in Germany, which just have been published literally in the last 24 hours, they actually followed a group of people who had been exposed to somebody in an automobile manufacturing plant. And then they had 9 people that, with this exposure, he said, if you have any symptoms at all, contact us, we want to follow up. And they all agreed. Well, they got infected. And so in the very first hours, just feeling bad, sore throat, they went in and sampled their throats, their saliva, their nose for virus. They did blood, they did stool, they did urine. And they found that at that very moment, when they first got sick, they had incredibly high levels of virus, sometimes 10,000 times that we saw with SARS, in their throats, meaning they were infectious at that point already, and they hadn't even had symptoms yet of really any nature. They weren't coughing yet.
Wow.
And that's where we're concerned, because that's the kind of transmission. It's, I always have said, trying to stop influenza virus transmission, like trying to stop the wind. We've never had anything successfully do that other than vaccine, and we don't have a vaccine here. So what's happening is that people in public spaces are getting infected. And the way you need to address that is, unfortunately, if you're older 55, you have some underlying health problems, which unfortunately a lot of Americans do. We have obesity. Then right now you don't want to be in large public spaces and trying to potentially get infected. So you can take care of that part. As far as what can public health do, we can talk about this. We're not going to have a vaccine anytime soon. That's happy talk. We can close schools. One of the big challenges we have right now, if we close schools, what do we accomplish? In influenza virus, we close schools during outbreaks because it turns out kids get infected in school and they're like little virus reactors. They come home and they transmit it to mom and dad and brothers and sisters. And so we close schools sometimes. Christmas breaks are always great for kind of putting a dampening effect on flu. In this case, kids are not getting sick very often at all, which is one of the really good news features of this disease. In China, only 2.1% of the cases were under 19 years of age. And,
why is that?
We don't completely know. And I'm going to come back in a second, because they're getting infected, it turns out. One study showed that they still get infected with the virus, but they don't get sick. And we have that happen. There's a disease called infectious hepatitis A, where we have outbreaks in daycares. And the way we know we have an outbreak is because it's transmitted through the stool, fecal oral. His mom and dad and the daycare providers all get sick. And the kids, those symptoms, we go in and test the kids, are all positive. So some diseases will manifest primarily when you're an adult, but not as a child. This one appears to be the same. So do we close schools or not? If we're not really spreading the disease, because it turns out that if we close schools, a recent study done showed that 38% of nurses today in this country who are working in the medical area have kids in school. And if suddenly we're closing schools for 2 or 3 months, who's going to take care of those kids? 1/4 of the American population has no sick leave. If we close schools, they don't get paid if they have to stay home. So when you ask what can we do, we have to really be thoughtful about what we do. Are we doing more harm than good by closing schools, for example? Everybody will say, we got to do everything we can. Or do we just tell people, it's going to be limiting your contact as much as you can, and that's really about what we can do.
And limiting the contact, is that really going to help?
It does, because it's like putting rods in a reaction. If you don't have as much close contact, you can not transmit as much. If I'm sitting in a room with 100 people and we're kind of sharing air, the transmission is remarkable. Right here, off the coast of California, you've got your cruise ship. Cruise ships are notorious for recirculating air inside the inner cabins. We've had a number of outbreaks.
That's why they're having these outbreaks on cruise ships?
And then you leave them on there. I think the cruelest human experiment we've done in a long time with humans is leave them on these ships. Get them off right away.
Should they get them off right away?
Absolutely.
And what should they do with them?
Well, they can put them in quarantines of some kind if they want and follow up on them, but you're guaranteed they're all going to keep getting infected day after day.
It seems like we're not really prepared for something like this, although the CDC has been telling us for a long time that we should be.
We are not prepared at all, in the sense, I wrote the book, Deadliest Enemies, that was published in 2017.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go get it.
No, and
panic.
In chapter 13, the title of the chapter was SARS and MERS, a harbinger of things to come. We predicted this. And then I wrote a chapter on there, what a flu pandemic would look like if it emerged in China. And if you read it, it's exactly what's happened. The supply chains went down, China locked down the country, it spread to other countries, people all pointed fingers. And, it's the kind of thing where we hear it, but we don't get prepared. 5 years ago, I gave a talk at the Mayo Clinic. First time I talked about this, I talked many times afterwards, and I showed a slide of Puerto Rico, a picture of Puerto Rico, and then I showed the map, and then I showed a picture of a building in Puerto Rico, a nondescript building, and I said, this is our next big disaster. Turns out that 85% of all the world's production of IV bags, the saline that we need desperately, were made in these plants in Puerto Rico. And all we needed was one Category 5 hurricane to come through and take it out. Maria came through a year and a half ago, and the world went into a major crisis with a shortage of IV bags. Now, that was so obvious that was going to happen, and yet we don't prepare.
That's so foolish.
I know. I
jump to human beings, and people pour...
have access to testing quickly, but if it's going to take you a month and a half to get the test back, you know what it is about
processing. Is it that long?
Well, in some cases they get so busy because unlike laboratory testing for an entire year, where I do 1/12 in January, 1/12 in February, et cetera, et cetera. Deer season typically is very concentrated in just a couple of weeks to a month in the fall. And so the problem is all the animals come in at that time, so your lab capacity, one day, there were markets there. In the Arabian Peninsula, we're not going to euthanize 1.7 camels, to try to get rid of MERS. And there, it's 110 degrees out, and this virus is transmitted fine, thank you. I mean, it goes from animals to people, it goes into hospitals. There's no evidence it's seasonal there.
So that's a good myth to expose right away. This is not something that's going to cure up when it gets warm.
If it does, it won't be because there's a model for it.
What will it be? Because how does something like SARS run through a population and then stop being around anymore?
Well, it wouldn't have, but had we had good public health, had we had the same kind of transmission we're seeing with this coronavirus, where you're infectious before you ever get sick, where you're highly infectious. Remember with SARS, now you didn't really get infectious till you're in 6 days of illness, and you knew that you were in trouble. And then you could isolate you. And we didn't understand that at first, and the virus transmitted. So that's why SARS stopped. MERS stops because we don't get rid of the camels, so it keeps hitting humans day after day. But then when they go to the hospital, we no longer allow those individuals to transmit to others in the hospital, because we do what we call good infection control. As soon as they get there, they're in special rooms with special masks and all this kind of thing. And so in that regard, these coronaviruses can be stopped. This one's not. As I said at the top of the program, this is like trying to stop the wind. Influenza transmission, you never hear anybody saying in a bad seasonal flu year, we're going to stop this one. If you don't have a vaccine that works, you don't. It's just breathing. That's all it is.
So what's best case scenario here?
Well, I think as I laid out to you before, this could be 10 times worse than a really bad seasonal flu year. And I'll grant you it will hit, primarily the older population and those with underlying health problems. But as I mentioned also, we have a lot of people who have other risk factors. Obesity, high blood pressure is another risk factor where you can have a really bad outcome with this. And so we don't quite know what it's going to do yet. I think, we've been right on the mark predicting where it's going to be to today. I think from here on out, I can tell you it's going to stay around for months. It's not going to go away tomorrow. We got to stop thinking about, if we just get through tomorrow, that's it.
Okay, we'll come right back to that. This is a question that I have. If I was sick, or if I thought I had the flu a month ago, did I already get it? I mean, did it already pass through here? I don't know. We order a lot of stuff from China, from Amazon. Did it get passed through that way? These are just questions that I'm asking because I'm curious. And again, we're listening to Michael Osterholm on number 1439 of the Joe Rogan Experience. And I would encourage you to go to Spreaker Podcast and listen to the whole episode on your own. We'll just kind of skim through it.
Schools, we're going to tell people not to go into public. We're going to cancel big events. How long are we prepared to do that? What are we going to do? We have to ask ourselves that. I think the big thing is eventually enough people get infected where it'll be like putting reactors in the rods in the reaction, I should say, and then that stops it by itself. But
how so?
Because if 2 of the 3 of us in this room were immune right now to it because we'd had it and recovered and had protection, because natural protection, then I couldn't transmit to anybody. So that's what's going to happen if you get enough people who get infected. Ultimately, then it'll slow down and stop transmission that way, but that's a heck of a price to pay to get there.
Is it safe to say that we're fairly fortunate that this isn't something...
My next question was, I was talking to my brother, and I was like, hey, what's to stop us from just going and fucking getting it on purpose and, letting it do its thing, and then fuck it, we're done. But I didn't know if you could get reinfected or not. Or other people have that same mentality, like, fuck it, bring it on, do what it's going to do. But then again, the small percentage of these people that may have underlying conditions that don't know about it, that could be me, you know what I mean? That don't know about it, get this shit, ended up fucking croaking over it, and it's some fucking horse shit. Some bullshit. Because we still are not getting the real story as to where the fuck it's actually come from. We're getting some horse shit when that comes to as far as what they were being told.
Like the Spanish flu or something that's really ruthlessly deadly.
Well, that's where I think we have to be really careful. Just to back up, about 0.1% of people who get seasonal flu die. And granted, it's mostly older or younger people, okay? That's 1 out of 1,000. With this one right now in China, we're seeing between 2 and 3% of the people die. And some say, well, that's way too high. It's not going to be that high. It's going to be lower. But again, and they say that because we didn't pick up all the milder illnesses, okay? But on the other hand, we have a lot of additional people in countries like ours that have even more risk factors for having bad outcomes than China. And so Spanish flu, the one you mentioned, 1918, that was about a 3 to 3.2% case fatality rate. Now, it did preferentially impact 18 to 25-year-olds. They were the hardest hit group.
Yeah, why was that?
Well, you know, it has to do with your immune response again. We think that what happened is when this virus got into you, it created what we call a cytokine storm.
Laid out all these problems, and you laid it out in your book here that people can buy right now. Go pick it up.
The issue with defense. You know, we prepare all the time well in advance. We don't build an aircraft carrier at the moment we think we're going to go to battle. We look at what all do we need. We don't do that in public health. We've tried. And so, you know what? Stockpiling 500 million of these N95s would have been the difference between night and day. And when you look at the price of one of those versus one airplane, not even close. If you look at the things like that, it's like these medications I talk. Think about our own Defense Department employees are at risk of running out of these critical drugs because they get them from China. I mean, what a vulnerability.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is take a step back after, we can start now, but we're not going to fix it now, is to say, what are the key things that we should do? Vaccines, you know, if we had been serious about this, we might very well have had a coronavirus vaccine that whether it worked specifically for this strain, whether it worked for SARS or MERS, but right after SARS happened in 2003, everybody was hot on a new vaccine. And then when it went away, the interest waned.
Is it something like the flu where, you know, sometimes when they come up with a flu vaccine, it doesn't necessarily address the current strain?
Yeah, it could be. And that's where a coronavirus family vaccine may not match up right here now, but it could. And the flu one, you really hit an important point. There's one where, you know, we do have an imperfect vaccine, but it still does a lot of good. You know, if 50% of the people are protected, that's a heck of a lot better than zero.
Yeah.
If we had a vaccine right now that 50% of the people could be protected against this virus, man, think of all the lives we'd save. So the bottom line message is we can't wait until the crisis to fix these things. You know what? We spend about 0.0001% on public health compared to our Defense Department, and yet look how vulnerable it's the bugs. It's not a war.
Yeah.
It's not a missile. It's bringing down the world economy right now.
Yeah.
It's a darn virus.
Yeah.
And so this is where I think, and that's what I tried to say in my book, was all about that. I went into what we needed to do. In fact, I hate it when people come up and say, we're screwed. You know, my whole bottom line is, well, what are you going to do about it then? And that's what I laid out a whole plan in here, like these vaccines, like the stockpiles of masks. You know, we should have a plan in place already. What are we going to do with our schools when they close? Are we going to really close schools? Let's not try to make this on the fly. You know, I just mentioned, if we close schools, we're going to really hurt some people. And people may die in healthcare facilities, hospitals, because we don't have enough nurses or healthcare workers. Why have to make that decision all of a sudden? We could have planned for that a long time ago. And so I think hopefully this is a wake-up call, because, you know, nobody, I think, really believes this. I got to tell you, you know, the market today, as you know, on this particular day, crashed badly. And, you know, I think that up till 10 days ago, the market didn't even think this was a possibility. They just, if you look at it, it was flying high. On Friday, I did a briefing.
Okay, we can go back to this.
Coronavirus pandemic, and she's with us. As a breast cancer survivor, are you considered pre-existing condition? Are you taking extra special precaution?
I am taking special precaution. I'm missing 14 lymph nodes, so I know that anyone who's been through any kind of cancer treatment definitely is at an elevated risk.
This daily special, how will it differentiate itself?
We are here to bring you
like
the latest
Bush.
information on the coronavirus. This is such a fast-moving story. We are taking the politics out of this because I do think a lot of
bullshit. Okay, back to our previously scheduled program.
For over 400 major financial investors around between people and these animals. And the crowded nature of that society, I mean, I think one of the things that surprises people when they go to China, 15 million population cities are common over there. I mean, we think of the United States, we think of LA and New York, and that's big, okay? Over there, I mean, in Wuhan, a city of 15 million, the entire metropolitan area is 60 million. And so you have people crowded so closely together that if you add in the bugs coming from these animals and then the potential for this kind of contact where it spreads quickly, China's been a bacterial and viral soup vessel for a long time.
Dad actually got Lyme disease from the vaccine before they discontinued it. What can someone do to sort of protect themselves?
And with the suppression of fire, what's happened is we now have, instead of having these old growth forests, we have all this younger, non-pine or any kind of.
They need to see this.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It's one of those things that when you talk about ticks and you talk about Lyme disease, most people.
Okay, there we go. So, look. There are definitely some more out there theories above and beyond the spectrum of probably normal thinking and probably more into clickbait, and some of these people do have products that they're trying to sell you to better your life, and I probably try not to trust those. However, some of the other outlandish stuff is definitely really entertaining. And I just want to say thank you again to all of you little maniacs for tuning in. And I'm sorry, I'm not just bringing you the regular Robcast. We're talking about, Big Brother and catching up with old friends and, M553-A053. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Big Brother for the summer may be out of the question. I know that Skankfest South, it's been postponed, and if it's still going to get here, somebody wants an idea of what to give me for my birthday, that's a $400 ticket. I guess I'll have to wear my paint respirator to go see. I would like to encourage you do something that you love to do every day whenever you wake up. And I haven't talked about that, and probably is my new fuck. I would encourage you to do something you love to do every day when you wake up. I need to build some motorcycles, some classic cars for my own sanity right now, so I've started making the arrangements to be able to do that. Now, in this economy that was booming, will my customer be able to afford that now? I mean, it's kind of crazy, but we all need to see what you can do with your immediate surroundings to help yourselves, to help your family and your neighbors. And panic is not the way to do it. I tell you, like with a race car driver, you have a lot can happen going really, really fast. And if you panic, you end up rolling the car and killing yourself. If you're calm, you can kind of make a lot happen in a short amount of time. So we should be able to really make a lot happen in a long amount of time. And since now we've got this new term, social distancing, then it's a perfect opportunity for me to reach out to you. I just wish that it wasn't underneath these circumstances. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like whenever you see your cousins at the damn funeral and you're like, we really need to hang out. Well, we really need to hang out, and that's not the reason why I do the podcast. I do the Robcast. It's because you little maniacs are cheap therapy. You know it. And so we listened to a little bit of Pauly Shore's Random Rants, number 127. David Icke from YouTube. Hollywood Babylon, right here at Spreaker Podcast. Don't forget to download Spreaker Podcast. Joe Rogan Experience, also on Spreaker Podcast, number 1439. Thank you to Michael Osterholm for giving us the enlightenment of some of the real science as to what's going on. I would encourage you to go back and listen to that whole episode, JRE number 1439. And if you want to hear some more outlandish, crazy stuff, but not to get freaked out, to just to see how people are trying to capitalize on this, in my opinion, maybe not, then you can check out InfoWars. or you can check out, some of the other conspiracy shows. There was one other one that you can. It's let's see. Damn it, I don't have it on the iPad. We did get you all an iPad in order to bring you some audio nuggets. And we've got some monitors right now. We're using an outdoor type PA system indoors, and that's where a little white noise may come from. And for that, we're not going to apologize, because we're going to bring you what we've got when we've got it. And the point is, we'll have some studio monitors in here that aren't as high of wattage, and they have supposedly have a really nice, clear sound. And we'll send some shout outs, if they're worth it, down to the sponsor of these things. Oh. But yeah, I don't know. We can't really get overwhelmed. If you can, take it as an opportunity to exercise, to get some cardio done, to try to help. As far as entertainment goes, I can sit here for a few hours and bring you some of the views and opinions that I thought might be important in this time. You're home with your kids driving you crazy, you know what I'm saying? You can put this in your earbuds and just, relax, do your workout, get on your do your spin class over your iPad, I guess. I don't know. But there's always a creative solution out of our situation. Hold on.
I was just going to see if you want to take a ride, man. I need to go get my truck.
She's still not answering you?
No, she answered. We just talked.
Oh, yeah?
I'm done with her.
Okay. Give me about...
If you have any weed, please bring it. I don't give a fuck. We'll smoke in that company truck.
No, I can't reach it. Look, open that. There's a zombie apocalypse ounce of Reggie.
In here?
Open the top shelf that no one else could reach, but probably you, to the right. There's a little Tupperware thing up to the right somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I got a little bit in my other box, but my pipe was plugged, so I cleaned out my pipe. Yeah, just put that in Kenny's box when we're done. Just grab the nug out of there.
I'm just going to break you some up and put it in your pipe.
All right. Give me So yeah, check out. I would encourage you to listen to the rest of number 1439 of the Joe Rogan Experience. We'll be back with you all probably next Monday, or even before that if anything crazy happens and people start turning into zombies. We'll start capping them and racking them up. I don't know what else to say. But all y'all have a badass evening, even better tomorrow. I am a zombie, and we are out here for the day, bitches. Thanks again for tuning in. Much love. All you guys. Peace.